got a scare. I was at work one day. I actually moved back to Birmingham and I started working a job, and I kind of got nervous because I felt a lump. And my boss at the time, she was real busty and I was real small at the time. So I was like, hey, I think I got a little lump or something. So she was like, yeah, let me touch it. So I let her touch it at work, and she was like, yeah, I do kind of feel something. So then I asked my sister, because my sister's an occupational therapist, and I know she's big in the medical field, and I was like, bro, I got something on my boob, I don't know what it is. She was like, Raquel, that do feel funny, we need to get that checked out. So my sister then got me set up with the surgeon to get it looked at, and they was like, first my OB was like, you're too young, you can't have cancer this young, don't worry about it, you probably just got fibrocystic breast. And I was like, okay, you know, I'll go with that. So my sister then got me another appointment, and I went into that appointment, and she was like, that's kind of hard, let's go ahead. And she was a surgeon. And so she's like, let's just go ahead and remove it. And once they removed it, they came back, and me and my mom went back in. It was on a Wednesday. And they was like, Miss Smith, we need you to come back in. So I was like, okay, no problem. I still didn't think nothing of it because I was like, oh, it ain't nothing. I'm gonna go back to work. I got too much stuff going on. And so we went in, and she was like, Miss Smith, I need to talk with you. So I just remember my mom sitting there, and I'm sitting there, and I was like, what? I got breast cancer? And you could hear crickets. And she was like, yeah. I was like, for real? She was like, yeah. And I just looked over to my mom, and she just started crying. And I was like, oh, that was not what I was expecting. And I just told her, I said, well, Mom, it's okay, you know? I was like, y'all call me Rock. I was like, I'm pretty hard. I'll rock this on now. What we got to do? So I'm thinking we were just gonna go through some surgeries. I wasn't thinking nothing. I didn't know nothing about like breast removal, double mastectomy, and all that. So none of that really played in my head until I actually walked through it. Once I was going through the chemotherapy, they was just telling me like, you probably won't have any more children because the chemo kills your good cells and your bad cells, and you have to worry about it spreading to ovarian cancer because the triple negative cancer normally spreads to a different cancer or move to another place, different things like that. And once I was pregnant with my son, Rob, I was just finishing up chemo, and I was in my 2nd month of radiation. So I really kind of heard what they told me, but I didn't receive it in my spirit. So a lot of things that come my way with women that I deal with breast cancer is children. A lot of the girls that I meet, that I come across, they're in their early 30s, they're going through breast cancer, and they're freaking out because they have no kids. The biggest thing what made me become an advocate to help women with breast cancer was because I didn't have women that looked like me. It were more older women, and they had already kind of been through a lot of their 20s and 30s. Whereas with me, I was 27. So I didn't have a lot of women that I could relate to with my hair, or even understood the whole double mastectomy. Like, I didn't realize the significance of a double mastectomy until I woke up the next day and my boobs were wrapped and I had drains. That's when I realized, oh, something just really happened here, you know? So that's when I knew that it needed to be a conversation for younger women. And I was like, okay, so how am I supposed to be able to help someone going through it? And through my journey, I was able to learn it's different options. Like, I wish I had someone that was young that could come up to me and told me when I was going through breast cancer, hey, don't let them cut you straight across. See if they can cut you up under. Or I wish someone could tell me, hey, try to see if you can harvest your nipples. I didn't have those conversations. Now that I'm older and I'm going through it, the young women that come into my office, I can tell them, hey, make sure your plastic surgeon is good. Make sure they can cut you up under. Make sure they can harvest your nipples, or can they do the 3D reconstruction of your nipples, things like that. I didn't have that. And I really feel like that part made a void with me and cancer, because I felt like I wanted to be educated. And if I would have knew what I knew now, I probably would have did some things a little different.
For people that are listening to this, that are either a young woman or just folks that want to be a support system, you know, what is one piece of advice or takeaway that you have for them?
Stay consistent. Stay consistent in what you believe. Stay consistent with your heart, and stay consistent with your faith. If you're consistent with them 3 things and you use your voice like you said, my friend, it's going to find a way. It's going to surface. It's going to work out for your good. And you have to believe that. Because I believe if you take in negative, or you receive negative, or you accept negative, you're gonna produce negative. And I believe if you receive positive, you give positive, you're gonna be positive.